Hi everybody, and welcome to MITTY'S Mini Cooking. Today we're going to shake things up and make some good old American pies. And we're going to start with pumpkin, one of our favorites. But today we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to make a pumpkin pie this size in the Easy Bake Oven, and then we're going to take that same recipe and bake it in MITTY'S Mini Kitchen to see which turns out the best. Stay tuned. Okay, so before we mix the pie, we need to turn the Easy Bake Oven on, as simple as that. Preheat it for 30 minutes. So the first thing we're gonna do is make our filling for our pumpkin pie. I'm using a 100% pure pumpkin. It's pumpkin, it's not the pumpkin pie filling, but if you wanna take a shortcut, just get the pumpkin pie filling. So that's 1/3 cup of that. Next, we're going to add our cinnamon. We're going to add our nutmeg, our ground ginger, some sugar, a little bit of salt, and here I have 1/4 cup of evaporated milk. So we're just going to pour all that together. Okay, I'm going to mix it up. Really just whisk it together. So we're going to put a little bit of egg in this. You can use a dry powdered whole egg, or you can use part of a real egg. So we have our pumpkin pie filling right there. We just have to add our egg. So I have taken an egg and I've cracked it and put it in this container and just given it a great shake just to mix it up. Probably the easiest for kids to do. You don't want them getting egg all over the place. So now that I have it mixed, I'm going to take about a teaspoon, put it in, mix it, and I'm going to add 1 more teaspoon of egg. That should do it. And mix it. And there we have our homemade pumpkin pie filling onto the crust. Just clean up here a little bit, get rid of all of our egg stuff. Important to keep your counter clean, especially when you're dealing with egg. Okay, so now we need a crust for this. So this is the pie pan we're going to be using for the Easy Bake Oven. It does fit into the Easy Bake Oven. And I'm going to show you a couple different things to make it easier for kids. We have 2 different ways that we can do the crust. To make it simple for kids, I have decided to use a store-bought crust, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the easiest way, really, for a new baker is to get a pre-made frozen pie crust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this out, and I'm going to let it get to room temperature so that I can create that back into a dough for the size of the pans that I need. So now what we can do is just take the crust, take some out, and form a ball. This is probably the easiest for kids to do. You could teach them how to make homemade crust, but you got to be careful because it can't go over the top of this or it'll get stuck in the Easy Bake Oven. Do what you do for any pie and just spray it with some Pam or something like that, some other spray, and then you're just going to push it down into the pan. You don't want the crust to be too thick or it will not, bake and it won't taste really good. So just keep pressing, and it's okay that it goes up over the sides like that. So we just keep pressing, and you can see how easy this would be for a child to do or somebody younger to do, because literally it's like Play-Doh, but the beauty of this is that it's edible and it's really good. So you're just going to form it like you would a regular pie, making sure that the bottom isn't too thick. If it goes up over the top, that's okay. We're going to take care of that. The thing about the Easy Bake Oven is that you can't have it up above the pan or it won't fit in the side slot. So the easiest way to do that is just to kind of pinch it off. See how I'm just letting the pan serve as my knife? I'm just sliding my thumb over that, making it even. Like I said, this is a store-bought crust that I let defrost and put in a baggie and put in the fridge. And it literally is just like dough, Play-Doh, but it's actually pie crust that tastes really good. This particular pie crust is actually gluten-free, so that I can eat it. So see how that's not above, and you just want to make sure that your crust is not too thick and not too high. Perfect. I like to go over it with a spatula just to make sure it's not higher than the pan, and you'll see why in a minute. But that also helps keep it level, really easy to do. Now we're going to take the pie filling, and we're going to scoop it in, and as you can see, this is going to make a lot of pies. Look how cute that is. So there is our Easy Bake Oven pumpkin pie. So simple. Let's get it in the oven. Now you can see why it's really important that your dough not be higher than the pan. This is very narrow, it's only 1/2 inch. We got to make sure that it fits through there without scraping the top as we put it into the cooking chamber. If when you go to put your pie in, the dough is still too high, just push it forward. Very delicately. Oops, you see a little bit of my dough is too high. See that? Now we're going to push it into the cooking chamber. Once your pie is in the cooking chamber, it's really important to pivot this a little bit and look in there and make sure that other flap is down. Otherwise, it's like cooking with your oven door open and it's never going to bake. So once the timer goes off, you want to take the tool that came with the Easy Bake and you want to push that pie pan into what they call the cooling chamber. So just push that all the way in and it will be in the cooling chamber. If you tilt it this way, you can see that it's in the cooling chamber. So now we're going to let it sit there for another 5 minutes. So when it's done out of the cooling chamber, you want to get your pie out. So there is our, still a little hot, so be careful. But that's the pie. I'm going to set it on a rack and let it cool. Because I had so much left over, I'm going to show you something else you can do. This is especially good if you live alone, or maybe it's just you and your husband, or for a college kid. You can make this. This is a toaster oven sized pan. You can put this in a regular oven or in a toaster oven. So I have a lot of my crust left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ball it all together, and I'm just going to make a light crust at the bottom of this pan. It's going to end up being a thin crust, just enough to give it like a little bite. And also, the thinner the crust, the quicker it will cook. But this is another thing that you can do with MITTY'S Mini Cooking. We have a medium-sized pan, so you can make it tiny. You can make it Easy Bake Oven size, or actually a perfect size for 2. So it looks like I have just enough crust to do a thin lining all the way around, but that's okay. It's better than being wasted. This is a 6x9 pan. It can go into a regular oven or a toaster oven. So I'm going to take the rest of my pie filling and I'm going to use it. So this is another option for a pumpkin treat for the holidays, especially if you don't need a big pie, or it's just the 2 of you, or you want to do something quick, cute. if you've got a baker that's a little more advanced, this would be easier to do. So we're gonna pop that in the oven and see how that does. Here's what we've got. We've got our 6x9 pumpkin pie, and we've got our Easy Bake Oven pumpkin pie. Now we're going to take some of the dough and we're going to go up to Mitty's Mini Kitchen and see what that miniature pumpkin pie will look like. Here we go.
Won't you come in out of the snow and cold? We've got it nice and warm. In here you find both young and old, seeking shelter from the storm. It's the spirit of the season to open up the door. It's the spirit of the season to give them love some more. It's the spirit of the season to lend a helping hand. It's the spirit of Christmas season. Let's spread it across the land. Hang a winter coat on the antlers there. Come sit down by the hearth. Let go of your worries, strifes and cares. Give the here and now all it's worth. It's the spirit of the season to open up your heart. It's the spirit of the season to heal what's torn apart. It's the spirit of the season to lend a helping hand. It's the spirit of Christmas season. Let's spread it across the land. Oh, let's spread it across the land. It's the spirit of the season to open up your heart. It's the spirit of the season to give your love some more. It's the spirit of the season to lend a helping hand. It's the spirit of Christmas season. Let's spread it across the land. Yeah. Oh, let's spread it across the land. Ooh. Let's spread it.
Days, everyone. If you're looking for more unique, easy to bake ideas and recipes, check us out. www.mittysminicooking.com.